Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 18 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing a brand new Cricut project with a Christmas theme every day for 20 days. Now, before we start with today's project, I just want to give a slight disclaimer that if you're watching this video along with your child or children, you might want to give it a pause and watch it again a bit later on your own instead, because today we are writing letters to Santa Claus, and I wonder if he's gonna reply back. Let's find out. We are making magical letters to Santa. It's this beautiful envelope with ribbons, so it can be hung either on the branches of a Christmas tree, or you can put it on a door handle before bed one night. And there's a letter inside. Let's take a look. Within here is a printable wish list that your child or children can fill out with a little bit of information about themselves. They can tell Santa what they've done this year to be nice, and then they've got a little bit to add their wish list. One evening, they can fill it out, fold it up, put it inside the magical envelope. There we go. Hang it up and then see if Santa sends them a reply in the morning. I bet he does. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. Or purchase just the design from this video at craftwithsarah.com/products. To find the designs from this countdown, click into the Occasions filter and choose Christmas. The designs will appear here each day once the free versions have expired. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into your cutting machine software. For instructions on how to use the cut files, visit craftwithsarah.com/help and choose Cricut, Silhouette, or Scan and Cut. Within there are dedicated help guides on topics such as how to upload SVGs, how to modify them to make custom projects, framing tips, and how to cut cardstock with your type of machine. If you have any questions, email hello@craftwithsarah.com. Now, on with today's project. Here's what the envelope looks like loaded into Design Space. I'll be showing you how to make the envelope first, and then we'll take a look at the letters afterwards. When you click the design, it should show at 14 inches wide and 11 inches tall. That's the size of this whole design with all the pieces. There's a green box on the top left that tells you that size, so you can double check it's correct. If I zoom in a bit, you'll be able to see that a little bit better. We need to delete that rectangle so we don't accidentally cut it. Click on the design and ungroup the layers, either by pressing the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel up here, or if you don't see that, click on the icon along the bottom of the screen. Then you can click onto the green rectangle either in the Layers panel or by clicking it directly and delete it. We need to change some of the lines on this main envelope piece to be scored. Click it, and then you'll see in the Layers panel it's selected another group. We know that because there's a chevron arrow on the left. Click that to open up the layers. Click onto the first layer in there that looks like 3 lines in a sort of U shape. Under the Operations drop-down, change it to Score. Then click the group name, so now that both those layers are selected, the one we've just changed to Score and the basic cut underneath. We need to tell the Cricut to do the scoring on the white piece of card. With these layers selected, press the Attach button, either at the bottom of the Layers panel or the one that appears along the bottom of the screen. They both do the same thing. And that's then ready to cut. For this project, it doesn't matter what thickness of card you use, but I like to use a glittery card to go behind the cutouts just to add some extra festive sparkle. Although I've done the design in a slight off-white so it's easier to see, it does look best if it's cut from pure white card. When you're ready to cut the project, press Make over on the top right of the screen. That will separate out all the colours for you. If you want to, you can change the drop down in here to change the size, and then you can click and drag to move things about to take up less space. Just make sure when you're doing that nothing overlaps. It's got this going on to 3 bits of card. I reckon I can probably do it in 2. Click the 3 dots and move object if you want to change things about. Choose another colour that's the same and press confirm. Then you can move things about to get it to fit. Again, just make sure that nothing overlaps. For instance, I could do that, and then all of those bits fit on 1 sheet instead of 2. If you're left with any empty sheets, don't worry, they'll disappear when you go on to the next step. When you're happy with how all your colours are looking, press continue to connect to your Cricut and follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut from cardstock. I've now got all the pieces of the envelope cut out. I've used a really nice shiny gold glitter for the yellow layers, and then plain cardstock for the rest. Most of this will be done with glue, but optionally you can use foam squares to add on the decorations if you want to. But it looks just as lovely if you glue everything and don't use foam squares. The glue I'm using is Barely Art glue, but I also like Kalal. The reason I like these 2 glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. The foam squares I'm using are from Dot and Dab. These are 2mm thick and 5x5mm in size, but it doesn't really matter what type you use. If yours are big, you may need to cut them smaller with scissors. First up, we'll glue all of the white bits onto the corresponding yellow or gold. I've already done these 2 pieces, so you can see how that looks when they're glued together. But for these 2, these have a very specific way that you need to put them together. Otherwise, it doesn't look right when it's gone onto the main envelope. How do I know this? Because I did it wrong the first time I recorded this video. That's why these 2 bits are already stuck together, because I did that in a previous clip and then realised I'd done these bits wrong, so I had to recut. So pay very careful attention to this bit. You want to make sure when you're doing it that it lines up exactly how it looks in Design Space. So for this one, I've got the line going down on this side, and then the pattern on top should have the leaf coming downwards and the stars at the top, like that. And on this side, I've got the line going down here. So when I line this one up, it should again have the leaf pointing down this way and the stars at the top. What I did by mistake the first time was I glued them on like that, upside down with the stars at the bottom, and that meant when I tried to put the envelope together, all of the stars were covered over by the flap at the bottom of the envelope and it didn't look right. So it's super important, get it this way round so you don't have to end up recutting like I did. Okay, I'm going to carefully do this. Trying to add a glue into all of the little bits of card so that it doesn't accidentally get caught in anything when you're trying to put the letter in and out of the envelope. Stars at the top. And then on the other one, the same thing. Alright, now we've got this piece here, and we want to fold along all the school lines up towards you to come inwards from the side and then up from the bottom along those 3 flaps. Then turn it upside down. Now we're going to glue our flaps on, going up to the score line. You could also use double-sided tape for this bit. Once again, the stars should be at the top. Don't accidentally put the wrong flap on the wrong side, or you'll still end up with that problem where it won't look right when it goes together. Now I can turn this back round, and then once that's folded in, it will have this one glued on top. We'll glue that on next. Fold the tab inwards and then it gets glued on there so it lines up. And then for the top piece, this will glue onto the inside. Make sure you line out the hole at the top for the ribbon to go through. Line up those edges as close as you can. Wiggle it around a bit if you need to while your glue is still drying. I'm doing a bad job at this. Apparently my ability to line things up has left me right now. There we go. Okay, now to build up the envelope, I'm going to fold in the bits from the side and then fold up the bottom and use glue just along this very bottom line. Don't put it any further than that or you might see it. So a thin bead of glue, I'll show you closer to the camera in a moment. A thin bead of glue down the front of both of those flaps and then pull the bottom one in and push down. Now I'm not pushing it super hard. I want there to still be a bit of pop in there, a little bit of gap, because remember we've got to get our letter in there. So you can see it sort of coming out a little bit to make that natural envelope shape. While that's drying, we can start prepping the decorations. 2 candy canes and the holly. I don't want to make the same mistake, so I'm getting these facing the right way. See if I can zoom in a bit more so you can see better. They're very small. There we go. And then the red bits will be glued on top. So that needs to be that way around, so glue on this side. And then glue the red berries to the middle of the holly. You can then choose to glue these to the envelope or use foam squares. I'm going to use foam squares for a bit of dimension. I'll do the holly first, put that in the middle. And then the candy canes either side. For these ones, I've had to cut my foam squares in half with a pair of scissors, as they're very thin, so my regular foam squares were not small enough to go on the back. That's why I said you can glue them if you want to, because it gets a little tricky. One there, and one. Oh, didn't pick up a foam square then. One on the other side. I need to cut a few more smaller because I've run out, just to show you how easy it is. A snip down. I kind of did that off camera. Let's do another row. A quick snip. There we go. And then they go in half. I'm not getting on very well today. Okay. That will go the other side. Next up, take some ribbon and put it through the hole. The amount you put on will depend a little bit on whether this is going on a door handle or a Christmas tree branch, wherever you want to put it. I folded my ribbon in half to make a loop, fold through, and then pull tight to get that on there. And then I'll tie it into a nice bow off camera because I'm awful at tying bows. It's going to take me probably about 10 tries to get it looking nice, but that will be tied into a bow, so then it will loop over the door handle or Christmas tree. So here's our magical envelope all finished. Now we need the letter to go inside. Now let's print out the letters, starting with the one that your child will fill in. Go back to the download folder and open the letter from child folder. Within there is the same letter in 3 different file formats, so you can choose the one that you prefer to print. There's a JPEG, a PDF, and a PNG. Personally, I prefer the PDF version. I'll open that up. And this is what it looks like. There are lots of things on there for your child to fill in and to sign their name at the end. How you print will depend on what program you're using to open it and what file format that you've chosen to open. For me, I would go to the menu on the top left and then press print. Once your printer settings open, if you can, change it to the highest quality setting that you can print on. For me, I would click into Properties, and in this menu, I'm going to keep it on plain paper as that's what I'm using, but under Print Quality, change it to High, and then press OK. The letter is sized to 8 by 10 inches, so it should fit most standard bits of paper. If you want to, you can change the size if your print settings give you that option. For me, I'm going to take it down to 90% because at the moment it's touching the edges of my paper and I'd rather have a bit of white around the sides. If yours does print smaller like mine is going to do, there'll be some gaps around the edges. You can cut it to size after it's printed using a paper trimmer or a guillotine or a craft knife or scissors or anything else that you want to cut your paper with. This would then be ready to print, so I'm going to go ahead, press print and send it to my printer. Here's my letter printed out. This is on A4 paper. I'll need to trim it down so that it will fit in the envelope when it's folded into 4. Because the envelope was done on an A2 size, which is 1/4 of US letter paper, not A4, if you're using A4 like me, it won't quite fit in unless you cut it to size. Alternatively, you could just fold it into more than 4 and then it would go in. Put my paper trimmer and go down the edges. I'm really bad at using paper trimmers, as you can see, because I've just cut that off. Here it is trimmed, and then your child can fill this in, and then you can help them fold it into 4. Then, on the night they're ready to send it to Santa, simply slip it into the envelope and it will be hung on the outside of their bedroom door, on your Christmas tree, or anywhere else you want to put it, and then we'll see if Santa writes a response. Just in case Santa is a little bit busy that night and doesn't see it though, there is a little way Mum or Dad could help out with a letter. Next, let's take a look at the reply your child will get from Santa. In the download folder in Letter from Santa, there's a document in there with a website link. The link is craftwithsarah.com/Santa letter. That's all one word, all lowercase. Go to that website link. That will start to open the template in an online tool called Canva. You'll be able to edit this for free, but you will need to sign up for an account if you don't already have one. The reason for doing it this way is it means you can add your child's name in, as well as some custom text, and it will all be in the same font, so it looks really, really custom and personalised and like it's come straight from the North Pole. If you've not visited Canva before, you might see a big pop-up on the screen asking about cookies. Choose your preferred setting in there, and then you'll see a page like this. Scroll down to the bottom, and there's a View Template button. Click on that. That will open a login screen unless you're already signed into a Canva account. If you've already got one, you can sign in here. If you don't, you can either register with Google, continue with Facebook, or create a new account with your email address. Now, one thing that I want to bring to your attention, because this was new to me until I started working on this project, is that if you register for Canva with a business email address or one with a custom domain name, it won't let you make this project for free. So for example, if I was to register with sarah@craftwithsarah.com, it wouldn't let me make this for free because it thinks that I'm using it for a business. However, if you register with a personal email address that uses any of the major email programs like Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, Comcast, any of that, then it will let you register for free. So, for example, if your email address is something@gmail.com, that's absolutely fine. But if it was something@yourcustomwebsite.com, that's not going to work. So either do it with Google or Facebook or a personal email address. That bit's really important. All right, I'm going to click continue with email. I'm going to register with a Gmail account that I have, and then we'll see how to make the rest of the template. After registering, it might email you a code of numbers to put in to verify your account. Once you've gone through all of that, you'll see a screen like this that says your template is ready. Press Open in Editor to get started. That will open a page which looks like this. It might take a little while to load. You can zoom in using the slider on the bottom, so it's easier to read. If you find that you get a big pop-out menu on the left that's taking up a lot of your screen, you can close it by clicking the arrow that appears about halfway down the page. But mine hasn't loaded, so that's fine. The first thing we want to change is the name at the top of the letter. Double-click onto the text, and then you can type into it to add the name. The other bit to change is in here. In here, it's nice to reference some of the good deeds that your child wrote in their letter to Santa, just to prove that Santa really was reading it. For instance, I could say the elves especially loved hearing about how you raised money for charity with a sponsored run. Then read it through and make sure everything else is as you want it to be. One thing you may want to change if you're in the UK, like me, is instead of cookies and milk left out for Santa, we tend to leave mince pies. When you're happy with how all the text is looking, click away. Then at the top of the screen, press Share and then Download. Click into the file type box and you can choose a JPEG, a PNG, or a PDF standard. I'll go for a PDF. You don't need to tick any of these boxes. Just click Download. You'll see the progress down the bottom, and then it will either go to your My Downloads folder or it will open like mine's done. So here is my custom letter with the name and all of the information in there that I typed. It looks like it's come straight from Santa himself. Then you would just print this exactly the same way as you did before. Here's my response letter all printed, and once again I've trimmed it to size. So what you would do is give Santa that helping hand by removing the wishlist letter on the night it's left out, folding this up and putting it inside the magic envelope instead. And there you have your Christmas magic all done with just a little bit of a helping hand from you. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make this magical letter for Santa Claus. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and Christmas fun. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 19 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!